What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is so much news coming out right now between Battlefield, Splitgate 2, even Call of Duty is having some more fresh news. It's getting absolutely insane, but I had to prioritize this video because, obviously, as you guys already know, the Battlefield playtest went ahead and expanded to the Asia region, and boy, oh boy, have they been going absolutely bonkers when it comes to leaking out tons of footage. I mean, on the internet right now, there's videos that are like 20 minutes long, 30 minutes long, and we have multiple different segments getting to witness all different types of gameplay, movement, destruction, vehicles. We have so much to discuss today, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, before we go and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget subscribing at that bell. We post daily here at 8 morning Eastern time. Like I said, we talk about Splitgate, Call of Duty, Battlefield, even Arc Raiders, which is going to be coming out soon as well. So if you're interested in any of those topics, subscribing at that bell. And last but not least, we do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I can link that channel down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't necessarily know where to begin this video because, let's be real, every single time these leaks drop, they bombard this overall community. They just drop, by the dozen. Again, like I said in the beginning of this video, there's like 3, 4, 5 plus videos out there now that are like 20 to 30 minutes in length, and it's just so much detail to the footage at this point that we almost know everything about the game. But you know what? To start off with, let's go to the movement segment of this video. The movement is looking so freaking good. I know people were very hesitant and worried when we first saw the initial bee-hopping phase, but it doesn't look like this is going to be, staying around whatsoever. It's looking very good, grounded, yet still quick enough to be an arcade shooter, which Battlefield has always been. The perfect in-between point of something like Battlefield 1 mixed with Battlefield 3 and when I say some, I mean some of the movement tech of Battlefield 5. It looks nothing like Battlefield 5, if I'm going to be honest with you. You could do some insane movement in Battlefield 5, but it looks toned back from that point. They kept some of the features of that game, but it looks more like Battlefield 3 in my personal opinion, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that. On top of that, we got to see the dive feature in a bit more detail as well, and it's looking extremely solid. A lot of people have been worried that the dive feature is going to be the new movement tech, since obviously the B-hops have been, nerfed down a bit here, but it doesn't look to be that way. The dive feature looks like it's going to be strictly something for getting to cover, which is what it should be. It's not like Black Ops 6 where you're spamming the dive button over and over and over again, and your soldier gets up like they're only carrying a pistol and they're nude with absolutely no clothing on. That's not the case whatsoever. You have weight in this brand new Battlefield game. When you take a dive, you could tell your soldier is freaking heavy. They're carrying gear. They have equipment. They have a beefy ass gun in their hands, and you could tell because when you take that dive, yeah, it's a little bit of distance. It looks smooth. But when you land, you're kind of cemented. You can't just quickly get back up and start sprinting again. You got to kind of, think this dive out before you go ahead and do so. To me personally, it doesn't seem like you're going to take this feature and challenge someone in a 1v1 and quickly dive like 5 times at them. No, like I said, this is going to be more of a defensive style feature, and I like that. And on top of all of this good news, you can also rotate when you dive. So let's say you dive forward. You're sprinting forward. You go ahead and dive. You can do a 180 mid-air, look behind you, and then land on your back while diving and be able to engage with someone who might be creeping up behind you. Again, it's not going to be like you can do that and then spam back up to sprint. It's going to be timed, but it's still very useful and it looks absolutely outstanding. I'm really happy and pleased with how the movement is looking in this game, especially with the direction that a lot of these other games are taking nowadays. It's becoming so fast-paced, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind a nice fast-paced shooter. I'm all for it. I mean, I used to love the heck out of X Defiant. That game was really ridiculous when it came to movement. So I don't mind. But I do think that a lot of people are getting tired of this, and we've been waiting a long time for a game that could kind of ground it out a bit without making it stupidly slow like a milsim, and that's what this game is making me think of. Like I said, a combination of Battlefield 3 with a few features from Battlefield 5 sprinkled here and there, mixed with the atmosphere of Battlefield 1. Now, talking about atmosphere, yes, it looks outstanding, it sounds outstanding, it looks like it feels outstanding. Altogether, the way the guns punch, the destruction is just out of this freaking world. I'm so psyched about the destruction, and it seems like it's almost the centerpiece of what this game is built around, because every single map they have showcased, I mean, destruction is everywhere, absolutely. I'm sure they're going to have some tank maps that are going to be a bit more open, But from the, base look of all these maps, it's looking like infantry is going to be a huge focus, and I'm absolutely loving this in every possible way. The sound design is glorious. Every single time that we get new leaks, we get more stuff being introduced to us. Vehicles, different weapons, so on and so forth. And every single time we get more information about these different details, every single time you hear it, oh my goodness, the jets flying overhead, a tank, every single time it takes a shot. I mean, God, it just sounds perfect. It fits the look of the game. And like I said, it really reminds me of Battlefield 1 in a lot of different ways without having the more slower, like very slower paced gameplay of Battlefield 1 because it was supposed to, be a World War I shooter. But this, like I said, it's like a nice in-between of Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 3. And personally, I think people are going to really enjoy that. And talking about the vehicles, the helicopters don't look too shabby. Now, I will say they look pretty clunky at the moment. But we always got to keep in mind that we are in the pre-alpha. We were all worried about the movement. Look, it's been polished off. We're all worried about so many different things. And as the leaks continuously go on, it continuously gets polished. Because again, we are in a pre-alpha build. They're testing things out. We're not even in a beta yet. So I'm assuming the helicopter is going to be polished off as time goes on, but it still looks pretty, cool to mess around with. The tank combat looks like it's still enjoyable, so on and so forth. Not bad, but again, like I said, helicopters might need a few adjustments here or there. I mean, shoot, ladies and gentlemen, it even seems that DICE went ahead and reevaluated some of the perks. For those who don't remember, a lot of the perks were going to be heavily catered towards a lot of wall hack abilities. And you guys know my opinion. I am so tired of games picking up these wall hack abilities. But according to Temporal, he posted under a tweet by Enders, but he said, most of the problematic field specializations have been significantly nerfed in the latest patch. Example, old, reveal nearby enemy gadgets, negate movement speed penalty while firing, and switch weapons faster. New, reduce movement speed penalty while firing. This is just, it's so, like I said, the reason that I think people are very excited, including myself, for the brand new Battlefield game is not because of the fact that, we're getting hyped up for trailers and, they're clickbaiting us. No, this isn't anything like 2042 whatsoever, not even in the slightest, okay? This is massively different. We are seeing real footage. People are playing this game. The test is open not only just to, the most hardcore members, but absolute noobs. I mean, you see some of the gameplay footage. There's people who probably barely even play video games who are testing out the new Battlefield game, sharing their opinions, and giving a casual perspective on, what they like and what they don't like. Again, you can love or hate this. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The point being made is that they are putting everybody into this experience. Everybody's voices matter. To the point where even the perk system, where we were running into, some problems, people didn't like all the spotting, tools, even that is getting nerfed down. The destruction is being, handled according to the community and how much destruction they think should be, implemented. Even down to the map designs. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the maps look phenomenal and they look infantry focused, but we've been begging for this for ages. I mean, Battlefield 2042 literally had to redo all of their maps because of the lack of cover that was presented in them. They are listening. And it just means the world. I would say the only thing I see so far, and I'm being so serious right now, I've been watching so much footage. The only thing that truly worries me at this very moment is the potential that they might go ahead and go crazy with some skins, because we did get to see some of the skins, and a lot of the skins look very grounded, but there was this very bright, vibrant purple skin. I don't know. It might be nothing, might be something. As long as it doesn't go crazy to the point of like Call of Duty where we're running around as chickens and goats and unicorns, I'm A-okay. You know what I'm saying? But it's still worrisome that they might be pushing even further than we expected. And two, the spotting system. The spotting system is just freaking ridiculous in this game. And it's exactly what I've been worried about for ages here. I know people are going to fight back with me on this topic, and people believe that 3D spotting should be a permanent addition in Battlefield. It is what it is. I'm just sharing my own personal opinion here. 3D spotting changes the way of combat and the way that you can flank and engage with enemies, because once you're spotted, everybody on the map knows where you are, which obviously caters to more slower gameplay where you don't want to be too aggro, because if you get caught on a bad flank, or well, it's a good flank at the moment, right? And that's the whole purpose of flanking. Flanking is knowing when to strike, when to rotate on the enemies when they're distracted, and you can get the best advantage on them. But if all it takes is one person to spot you, and then the whole team can see that someone's coming on their flank, and you have like 10 people rotating around to come get you, what's the point of even giving it your best shot? You get what I'm saying here? And in the new Battlefield game, there's 3 spots. There's a spot above the person's head. So there's going to be a bright orange, whatever, diamond, whatever you want to call it, above their head. There's also going to be an indication on the minimap, the 3D spot, so you get to see exactly where they're at and where they're moving. And you get a spot on top of your compass as well. So the compass at the top of your screen, there's going to be literally indications of where the enemies are depending on where you're looking. You get 3 indications, ladies and gentlemen. 3 indications on where a person is if they are spotted. That is hands down the only thing I'm really worried about. And I'm hoping they tone it back a little bit, but I don't know. I guess only time will really tell on that topic. But ladies and gentlemen, for the rest of the game, I can't lie, I am very pleased. I am stupidly excited to get my hands on and try out this beta. Although my expectations, again, after dealing with 2042 are, I'm still a little iffy. But I mean, come on now. You could just simply look at this. And again, I highly suggest you guys go ahead and do so. Just go on Reddit. Go on the Battlefield subreddit board. Just please. And look at the footage. You can't tell me it looks worse than 2042. Right? When 2042 footage came out, people started to question it a little bit. During the trailers is when it was all hyped. We are more hyped, I feel like, the community as a whole, with the gameplay we have seen so far, because it just blows 2042 out of the water, even 2042 at this very current date, after they overhauled all the maps, after they tried their best to implement some sort of class system, after all of these changes and content drops. What I see in the beta is 10 trillion times better. It's to the point where I can't even load into, 2042 whatsoever. I just want to play the new Battlefield at this point because it looks like a game that they actually listened to their audience about. And, that is something that I think the community really appreciates. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And of course, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'm going to link the channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.